video. We've done quartz and we've done pyrite, and now I wanted to do calcite. Calcite is a phenomenal mineral that you see all the time as well. Perhaps not as nice as this. A lot of calcite is a bit rockier and grosser than these ones. We're actually going to take a little tour around my little area here to show you some super radical pieces of calcite, which is that one, for example. Calcite is really unique in that it can form in a ton of different circumstances, a ton of different colors, and a ton of different like shapes and different like formations, I suppose. So yeah, it has a trigonal crystal habit. If you're not familiar with what crystal habit means, I think if I haven't made it yet, I'll post a video on crystal habit and how to spot it and what that means, how to understand it. But calcite is a trigonal crystal habit, which you can see a lot of the time in the examples that I'll show you, but it can also be cubic, it can be stalactitic, it can be hexagonal, it can be botryoidal. It really can be tons of different shapes and sizes and different gem qualities. And yeah, it can be found all over. It's one of the more common minerals. I think it is the most common carbonate mineral. So let's get into calcite. All right, I did another like sheet like I did with the quartz. If we like that, let me know. I can keep doing that for the spotlight minerals. Without further ado though, calcite is a CaCO3. It's calcium, carbon, and oxygen. So it is a carbonate mineral, and calcite gets formed through hydrothermal processes. So that means when magma heats up water to a really, really, really high temperature, and then those hydrothermal fluids are moving through rocks or they're just moving through the crust in other ways, it will deposit the calcium and the carbon and the oxygen in a way that will precipitate into these really wonderful, beautiful crystals. Like quartz, calcite can be observed in a lot of different colors. It's kind of like quartz, also it's generally thought to be like a clear and colorless mineral or crystal until it's not, essentially. So let's get into the different ways that we can see calcite. I love these stalactites. These are really, really fantastic. Oops. These come from China, and these are cave stalactites of calcite. The orange color is really beautiful. I'm sure there's a really irony content that created that, but this is a really cool example of like the funky shapes that calcite can have. If you're not familiar with how stalactites or stalagmites are formed, it's basically like drip, 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 drip. So you can see where the water was dripping onto the top to make it this weird and pointy thing. We've got this guy. This one is pretty fantastic. It's more of like a blocky, cubic-y type of calcite, but yeah, that's a really gemmy piece. I brought this piece out when we were talking about luster, I believe, but oh my gosh, what a fantastic calcite crystal. I think this is probably the gemmiest calcite I've ever seen. I can't believe you can just like see my finger right through it. So that one's wonderful. This is a pink hexagonal calcite. You can see the pink color a little better from over here, but oh brother. Okay, so you can see that this grew with quartz, but that's really not very uncommon. I've got another example of some scalenohedral, some scalenohedral calcite forming with amethyst. Beautiful, beautiful pieces. This isn't calcite, but this is aragonite, which is also a carbonate mineral, but I just wanted to show you guys what a botryoidal habit looked like, and this is the botryoidal piece that I had on hand, but calcite can also form botryoidal like this as well. So something that I wanted to do, it'll streak white on the ceramic plate, the unglazed ceramic. It will streak white just like the quartz did. It's pretty hard to see. I'm just gonna skip that part right now just because the plate's white. It's a little bit tough to show you guys the white streak, but the luster is vitreous to pearly, sometimes even waxy, in my opinion. Especially with this guy here, you can see it's like a waxy, sort of a pearly, vitreous. It's kind of all three, honestly, but yeah, it can really vary a lot. So I kind of wanted to go on a little field trip to see some of the really amazing calcites that we have in the store. We've got this one, which is kind of comparable to that little QB one that I saw, or that we looked at earlier. That's really, really gemmy. It's with a zeolite mineral. This is another scalenohedral calcite. This is a super tabular calcite. I think this is probably one of my favorite calcites I've ever seen, perhaps. These red like petal calcites are just absolutely fantastic. I wanted to show you guys another couple of pieces that just kind of showcase the unique qualities that calcite has to offer. So I wanted to bring it over here. So we've got another example of like the petal calcite, but if you look closely here, sorry about that ugly card. If you look closely here, you can see that it is kind of a wide hexagon, and almost all of them are pretty observable to be like that, where you can kind of see there's a termination and then faces there. So that one is pretty cool. What other fun pieces of calcite was I thinking? This is a good one. This one's like really spiky. It's also occurring with amethyst. Something I want you guys to notice about the calcite, though, is that because it's trigonal, when it has pointy terminations like this, they're mostly going to just be like three-sided. They can get a little more complicated visually than just like three-sided, but in general, that's a good rule of thumb to go by. Yeah, those are the calcites I wanted to show you guys. Calcite's a really cool mineral, calcium carbonate. It is deposited with hydrothermal fluids in a lot of rock veins or in caves, or wherever like superheated magmatic water is able to flow freely. It's also quite soft. It's a 3, so that is a good way to distinguish calcite from other minerals that might be harder around it, is that it's quite soft. All right, well, okay, I think that's gonna be it for calcite today. I'll do some follow-up videos on how to distinguish it from other, I almost forgot. Calcite is, there's something fun about calcite. This isn't always the case, but I did want to show you guys before we left. Calcite can be incredibly fluorescent. This one is such a fun example of fluorescent calcite. This one is also fluorescent, but not to the strength that this one is. This one is just so fantastic. See, this one isn't very reactive. This one is, you can see that bouncing back kind of a white bluish light at us. Yeah, that one's not doing much of anything, but anyway. All right, I'm glad I remembered that. That's a really fun aspect of calcite. But thanks so much for joining me. Let me know what minerals you want to see next. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much.